friends, and welcome back to Like Anime, the podcast about anime, to which you are currently listening to.
Minasan, konnichiwa. I'm just kidding. I can't translate that whole thing.
We're like the NPR of anime, coming to you live, pre-recorded. Tony, hello, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing quite well.
I'm also doing quite well. No, that's not true. I'm all right.
I was just reading the script, but all right, let's go off script.
I'm fair to middling.
We are back, middling.
Yeah.
With lots of excitement. It's an emphatic middling, and we're
we were sort of off last week. People who are listening to the podcast, they got our awards show last week. I should apologize for my attitude during that show and probably the previous week's show as well. But you
might want to go several months.
I'm not
deep.
going to, but I should. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's fun. You just had some playful, like passive aggressive thing with the audience.
It became much less passive.
I sugarcoat. That's what I do. That's what they pay me to do, and that's what I'm here.
It was
doing.
Quite aggressive. My friend, who I guess shouted out. I don't know. I haven't listened to the episodes back, so I don't remember. But he said that was the most aggressive shout out I've ever received.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, I remember that. I think that was during the awards.
No, it was in the previous week.
Oh, it was in the previous one?
It was definitely the previous week.
We recorded those the same night. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember editing it being like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. And then slowly it became less and less passive aggressive and just aggressive and somewhat angry sounding.
That was the first episode we recorded that night, so it was pretty, early.
Right. Yeah. So no, that first episode, yeah, that probably was passive aggressive, but
oh, you mean carrying on into the
But yeah, into the awards show, a little less passive, a little more aggressive.
Well, that's How about that? Welcome back to Like Anime, the only passive aggressive anime podcast. Tony and George.
I don't know. Would people listen to that?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are
we just
people listening. You're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're right there.
Tell all your passive aggressive friends and those interested in such content to tune in.
Yeah. Tell all your masochistic friends to tune in.
Yeah.
Because I will abuse you.
Well, on that note.
So we've got a couple shows. We basically we had a week off. We had 2 weeks off, to be honest, sort of. And we fell a little behind, and then we caught up on a few things. And we're going to cover all of that next week. But this week we've got a couple of things that we're just going to sort of throw in there as like things that we've been watching that we've been enjoying and are more interesting than the other things probably. And then we've got a movie that we just watched, and we're going to talk about that as well.
Yeah, exclusive stream that we acquired.
Yeah, it might be. I'm not sure how widely available it is at this point, but
yeah, I don't think. I mean, here in the States.
Yeah, probably not. So, we're supposed to go to. I think I mentioned this in one of the 2 previous episodes. I don't remember which one, but we were supposed to go to the Animation is Film Festival. But we couldn't. But they sent us links for being able to view some of the films from the festival online, and we watched one of them tonight, and we'll be talking about it a little later.
That's right.
I mean, they sent us links for a whole bunch of them, and we'll probably be talking about more of them. But this week we've got
a couple
one.
of them, not the ones the most anticipated ones.
Right? Yeah, we didn't get what's it?
Pompo the
Cinephile, and Bell.
Bell, which is the biggest.
Those are the 2 big ones that we probably could if we tried, but.
And I've continued to hear, like, since Bell has been shown in the U.S. now, like online. I've just heard so much praise for it, like, because you heard about the Cannes Film Festival. It has like the longest standing currently.
Oh, really?
I remember we covered this when we were doing news and stuff, but it was like a 17-minute or something like that.
I kind of
standing ovation. Yeah. It was just like, wow, that's interesting. I mean, doesn't necessarily equate to a great movie, but says something, I suppose. But people online are just gushing about Belle, and I'm like, I want to see it, and we missed it, but that's
Mm.
okay. We can wait.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm more excited about Pompo.
Well, I'm curious about Pompo too, but it's interesting. I haven't heard much, yay or nay about it. I haven't gone looking, but
I
just
mean,
as far as the buzz goes,
it's not like as artistic as Belle, I
yeah,
assume, right?
yeah.
It's
And Belle is
it's
Hosoda, and
fun
it's got all
and
that.
silly and those things that you want in an anime film. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it looks great. I don't say any of that to besmirch Pompo, because they both look
Yeah, no, I'm
really
trying
good.
to just besmirch Belle is what I'm.
Oh,
That's
okay, I
what I'm
see, I
doing.
see.
Yeah,
Man, every time I see a Mamoru Hosoda
I
film,
love I mean I love everything I've ever seen that Hosoda has done. To be honest, so
I love most of it, but every time I
although I
see,
haven't seen Boy and the Beast yet, so
yeah,
maybe that's
I wasn't a big fan, but
yeah, that's what I hear.
I love most of his movies, but I'm always wanting him to knock it out of the park as just like
Right.
a full, like, there's always stuff with, this act here or like this character choice. There's always, I don't know.
Mm,
He has
it's
really good
weird little
movies,
bits.
but he's yet to like have like his magnum opus. I don't know. Um,
And this is perhaps it.
Perhaps, yeah. So
Haven't seen
I'm
it
rooting
yet.
for him. I'm rooting
Yeah.
for him. I don't want to give it high expectations, but I also want him to just kill it. So,
Yeah. I mean, me too. He's done good work up to this point. Everything that I've seen.
mm.
Again, I haven't seen everything, but I've seen quite a lot.
Yeah,
And
I think you've seen probably everything except that.
is that and one other. I don't
Mm,
remember what the other one was, but Boy and the Beast and there's one other that
mm.
I think anyway. I don't know.
Was The Girl Who Leapt Through Time,
I love that.
Summer Wars,
Seen it.
Wolf Children,
Love it.
and I think there is another. Like, did he do that Mirai film? Was that him?
I saw that as well.
Okay, I don't remember if I saw it.
I don't remember if that's him, but I saw that. Yeah.
That might be him, and there might be another one, but that's all I can think of.
I'm thinking there's another like older one. I don't know.
Hmm.
Get in the comments, let us
Oh, I think
know.
he did one of the Digimon movies.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and well, from what I've heard, it
I haven't
has
probably
like
seen
pretty
that.
much the same like plot as Summer Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's like in Summer Wars they have like those avatars and stuff, so that's like essentially like the Digimon, and I don't know. I guess
Well,
that's this whole
I know
thing.
that my friend who I aggressively shouted out 2 weeks ago has seen every Digimon movie.
Oh
So
wow,
he'll probably let me know
yeah.
if that's the case.
Which one did Hosoda do?
Have you seen Summer Wars? Do you know like is it
Yeah,
the same story?
maybe we should do that. Like
Let
for
me
a
know.
future episode, we can watch both like back to back and like
Yeah,
just riff on it.
that could be a thing, sure.
Mm.
All
All
right.
right,
That's enough intro talk.
Jinx.
Yep. You owe me a Coke.
Yeah, let's get into these shows. I just want to say, Tony feels bad for you, audience, that we're not delivering more talk on more shows this season for this week. But
But I mean, this week is largely my fault because I could have watched more shows than I did,
sure, I only watched one.
but I chose to watch things like there's a new remake of the 4400, which is a show that I loved from 2004,
Yeah.
which is now being remade on the CW,
Oh
and
well.
it's actually pretty good. If you were into the original one, you're not going to be disappointed by it,
Mm.
unless you're racist, probably, because it sort of takes the. I'm going super off topic, but that's what happens on this show.
Yep.
So in 2004, we had the whole war on terror thing still going on, basically. Like it was still pretty fresh in the memory. And that was like the oppressing force that we saw in the original 4400, which is a sci-fi show that I like. Anyway,
I never saw it, but I remember it.
and this new take is it's still got sort of the anti-terrorism vibe a little bit, but it's much more background because it's so long ago. But it's I mean, a lot of the characters have been replaced by black characters, and it seems to be taking sort of the Black Lives Matter idea and using that as the basis for the oppression. We've got a lot of black characters who are like, oh, of course, we got white cops oppressing black people, right? I don't know. It's an interesting take on it. Like
Hmm.
large strokes, it's very much the same story. In the more nitty gritty of it, It's a little different, but it doesn't bother me. I like it,
Hmm.
actually. Yeah,
Nice.
I quite like it. There's a new episode. Actually, the new episode is coming out tonight as we're recording this, and I will watch it probably when I get home after recording this. Um, so anyway, yes, all
So
that to
you've
say,
been
I've been watching other things.
yes, I as well, I suppose. A couple of them anime, but yeah, I don't know. It's like with the new shows, like I feel like at the beginning, it's like a lot to watch,
Mm,
a lot to take in, and then as you know, as we get towards the middle, it's like okay. So I don't know. I may just depending on the week, I may just be like I did this week, just be like this show I'm gonna catch up on and like
yeah,
just soak it in.
yeah,
And
and
then
that's
other weeks, I'm sure I'll feel more motivated to do that for a few, but I
yeah.
don't know.
It's like I mean, you're further ahead on Aquatope than I am, for
By
example.
one episode.
Sure, but further ahead still.
Yeah.
But I still was like, I just want to let that one sit there for a
Yeah.
while, and then I just want to like catch up on it. I want to do a whole bunch all at once, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what we're doing is we're gonna be doing
And I like that.
periodic of the weekly things, right?
I like that a lot more because sometimes for a show, I think it's easier to tell how the quality of it when you see like 3 or 4 episodes in a row versus just watching one
Mm,
a week. You know, it's like one a week and kind of be like, well, it's got this going, and but then just to watch a whole stretch of it, you're like,
right.
this. I don't know. It's kind of a true test for me.
Speaking of that effect, I watched MuvLuv Alternative
Oh, okay.
because I was expecting I was going to be dropping this show. I think I said that in the last time that we did any coverage of it.
Yeah.
I'd watched 2 episodes at that point.
And I was glad because I didn't want to add another show to my plate. And you liked it at first, and then you were like, I'm going to drop it.
Yeah, the second episode not so great, but yeah. But then so this week I had the third, the fourth, and the fifth to catch up on, and I just sort of went through all of them, and yeah, it's not bad. Like the problems that I think we had with it at the beginning was that it looked like bad animation, basically. And that did exist in the first episode, but we haven't seen any more of the creatures that they're
Oh,
fighting.
okay.
It's much more like a story, interpersonal stuff going on
Hmm.
with the characters at this point. Um, I don't know. Like it reminds me of a lot of other shows that I've seen, like these sort of pseudo mecha things. This one is more mecha than those, I guess. But like, it reminds me of like Infinite Stratos, if anyone's seen that.
Hmm.
I don't know, and it's sort of isekai as well because like he, our main character, I don't remember his name.
I wish it was he.
That would be good actually. It would be super, super convenient if that were the
So,
case.
He Man, what was
Yeah.
he up to?
Um, so our main character in the first episode, we see sort of the end of a previous arc, I guess. And then the second episode, he sort of restarts. He is essentially transported to an alternate version of reality, but in the past. And so he's got all those isekai things where like he knows everything and he has all these powers and stuff like that. And, he uses those to effect, but the story sort of morphs over time because his knowledge of the future changes the future, obviously. And I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to watch him rebuild these interpersonal relationships, which I haven't seen him build in the first place because this is the third story in the thing, right? I don't know. It's interesting enough, and it's not super over the top mecha action bullshit that I don't like
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, thus far
Yeah.
has not.
I mean, I imagine it's coming, right? I mean,
I
it's
mean,
not like
no, I
it's not
mean,
like it's gonna be a surprise when.
in the fifth episode, there was like a full on mecha battle,
Oh, okay.
but it didn't bother me because it was short enough, and all
Hmm.
of the setup for it was about character relationships, which is
Okay.
sort of the important thing. Anyway, I'm liking it despite having not seen the previous two series or arcs or whatever.
Hmm. Do
Um,
those follow the same characters? Do you know, or is it?
I think the main character because they do these sort of flashback things that they I think they're expecting me to get the reference to things that I've seen or read previously, which I haven't seen or read previously. But I, I see that expectation existing in these sort of pseudo flashback things, I guess, that they are like, oh yeah, this is a callback to this previous thing, which you've already seen, except I haven't. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you're enjoying it
What was the question
despite
again?
that. Well, I was just wondering if all these series in the MuvLuv anime universe are like the same characters. Like if it's like an ongoing story, or if each
Okay,
season is like
yes. To answer that more
isolated.
to answer that more correctly, it seems like, again, having not seen anything previous to this, it seems like our main character is the same character throughout. He lived his life in a sort of ordinary world, like our world, basically,
Duran
with
Duran. Okay.
video games and stuff like that. And then at some point, he must have moved to a different reality. It seems like, anyway, this is what happened. He moved to a different reality where he was then, there were like these things attacking from outer space or whatever. And he was sort of conscripted into military service, and he met these other people. And in this iteration of it, the current iteration, which I'm watching, he already knows all of them. He knows all of their names and sort of everything about them from his previous lives, I guess. Yeah, it makes me want to go back and like look at these previous things that I haven't seen, but
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stick with it for now and evaluate it for what it is as a standalone, which it's kind of okay. Like it does do those callbacks, and it seems to have that expectation that I'm aware of the story that happened previous to this,
Yeah.
but I'm completely not aware of that. And it does enough to clue me in to let me be okay with the way the story is unfolding, I guess. I don't know. I think it's fairly well done, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to hear more later how it unfolds. I don't know. It seems like I mean I always
Yeah.
get like
I mean,
concerned when
I'm like 5 episodes in, so there's
yeah,
not
which
that
is
much yet.
well, I mean it's a
Nearly
sizable
nearly
chunk.
half a season, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably gonna finish it. I mean, to get that far and still be like,
Maybe
you know?
it could break at any point. Like I expected to watch episode 3 and be like, nope, I'm done with this.
Yeah,
And I wasn't. And then I watched episode 4 and I'm like, all right, I'm still on board. And then episode 5 and I'm like, yep, I'm probably going to watch another episode after this too. So yeah, it hasn't broken yet,
that first part you described is where I'm at with Platinum Ends, but I haven't watched any more, so I'm not sure if it's going to which way it's gonna go. But
You're on that verge.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's we were talking about this earlier before we started recording, but because I was telling Tony, I was like, the show I watched this week that I caught up on is one that is on my like top corner,
Right.
or among the 2 or 3 that I think will be really good.
Sort of the opposite of what I did, which was like the first show I'm going to start with is the one that I'm expecting. I'm going to watch an episode and drop it, and then I can move on to other things.
Yeah,
You started with the thing that is highest
yes,
at the top.
I was like, I don't want to waste any time. So let's go for this. But then you ended up watching, catching up, and I did that with Fena Pirate Princess last end of last season.
Right, yeah. Once you start, it's just it smooths it out to be able to watch a whole bunch at the same time.
Yeah,
Which is sort of like what we're talking about with like going forward. We're gonna do blocks of
yeah
shows basically
until it's like the end. Then it becomes like oh my god, there's these shows that I care about. I gotta watch a bunch,
happening.
And then the new season's starting. So like,
Right.
I feel like we get a little break.
So I talked about the show that I watched. What show did you watch?
Yes, I watched a show called Ranking of Kings, and I had seen the first episode when we did our our new season episodes. We had a couple there where we covering first episode. I think it was probably on the second one we did, because it had a later start.
Episode 1, episode 2 of this season of our podcast. One of those two, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that first episode, I liked. I liked it a lot. I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I was like, I love everything about this. Like it's got this storybook feel. It has an endearing main character, and it's just so like I don't know, fancy free. Like it's very light. It reminds me of Iyashike, where it has like that soothing feel to it. But in this
Mm.
show, it's more the main character is like just the spirit of him.
He
Because
seems like I've watched clips, and
okay,
he seems like a very chill dude, and also very tiny.
he's very tiny. I mean, that's the whole point. He has all these things going against him. Like the king's first son,
Mm.
but he's mute and deaf,
Hmm.
and then he's like really tiny. He's small. Like his younger brother like towers over him.
He's like the size of an avocado, from what I saw.
I mean, when he's a
Like
kid,
his father is like, yeah, holding him
well,
like in his hand.
his father is,
Oh, it's gigantic.
yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
like his suit is super strong and like is
Uh,
like this legendary figure. And so there's definitely like this is a fantasy world for sure. And like there's this scale of, sizes. But like his younger brother is not that huge, you know? But he's still like towers above
mm,
Boji, who is our hero.
yeah.
But anyway, the whole point is that he has all these things going against him. No one thinks much of him, even though there are certain people within the king's guard and the powers that be that are in his corner.
Mm.
And
But they all seem to love him, like townsfolk and whatnot, right?
he gets a lot of ridicule actually. Like
Oh,
if you
does
watch
he?
that first episode,
Oh,
yeah, it's
okay.
like it's not mean spirited, but he's not taken seriously, and like he's just kind of, you know,
I
there.
guess I do remember that actually. Yeah. I just saw something where he was like going through town and people were like shouting out, "Hey, Prince, how's it going?" And but there
Mm,
were the occasional people who were like, "That's the Prince?" Something like that,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
that sounds like maybe the trailer. Just
Yeah,
kind of
that's probably what I saw.
like juxtaposing what's going on there. But when you watch the show, it's so like inviting. It's so you just for me anyway, I became endeared to him like almost immediately. Like I saw the trailer, we both watched it at the same time, and so had an idea of what it might be about, but it wrapped me up immediately. And during that first episode, he meets this little shadow character
Mm.
who's part of the shadow clan. Is like a clan of like thieves and not thieves necessarily, but like clandestine. Uh, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Spies. Spies. There we go.
I mean, clandestine spies, they kind of go together.
Clandestine. Clandestine spies. Is that an oxymoron?
Yes, I think so.
They're really good spies, you guys. But yeah, but we find out in that first episode, we hear that in a a cool way of just like a snapshot of his backstory that his whole clan was murdered by an opposing
Mm.
kingdom,
You're talking about what's his name, Kaku or something?
Kage,
Kage.
which I assume means shadow. I meant to look it up earlier, but
Could be.
I just
I actually
assumed
don't know.
because in this okay, so this I'm up to episode 4 now, but I really just want to highlight this second episode because I rate it that episode alone is a 9 out of 10. I bawled my eyes out, but the first half you get Kage's backstory, but the
Mm.
first episode ends with Boji and his younger brother kind of squaring off in the it's like a little courtyard of the castle,
Mm.
and both of their trainers are there. All these people are watching. It's kind of this significant thing to see like how Boji, this deaf, mute, short statured, weak, first son of the king will fare against his much better younger brother. And but Kage is there. He kind of gets wrapped up in all this through meeting Boji and kind of taking advantage of him, and he starts to become endeared to him. But then we get his backstory, and we learn like I won't give it away, but it's like we learn why he cares so much and what his path was. And it is very emotional and it struck a chord. And then it segues back into the current time. And it all culminates in this fun sequence, which basically Boji is like dodging all of his younger brother's moves. But when he goes to hit him, he's just like really weak. Like it just goes like whap. Like it's like nothing at all. And so all the people watching are like that are kind of against him, or like he's disgracing, the combat. It's dishonorable. He should be, he shouldn't just be dodging. He should take on his opponent. That's not how a king should behave. And so it culminates in this whole thing, and yeah, I don't need to go too deeply into it, but damn, this show is just it's just solid for everything. Very emotional, very exciting, but then also has those like soothing, sweet moments interspersed, and all kind of like culminates together. And it's like they handle like having a deaf mute lead character, a tricky thing to do, live action otherwise, and it's treated with such, I don't know, care, but also like, I don't know, it's not like ham-fisted or trying to get you to just be entirely sympathetic, but it's dealing with those topics in a way that's like still really impactful and respectful to just everything. I don't know, it's good, smart, well written show.
All right. Well, I can confirm that while you were talking, I looked it up, and Kage does mean shadow.
Sweet, I was right. I was right, y'all.
Shadow or silhouette, apparently, but shadow.
Yeah, which that totally checks out.
Oh.
Just in it, well, with his backstory too, like somebody just call him Kage, and I think it just kind of became, he's on the run and stuff.
He's like two eyeballs on the ground that have like, he has like a pincer sort of thing that sticks up from what I've seen.
Yeah, so that's what I didn't fully grasp it in the first episode, but now I understand more. Like he has this like kind of blob, flat kind of shadow blob with eyes, but then he can create these these appendages can come out of him. So the one that looks like a pincher is actually just his mouth. Like he eats through that, and he talks, and that's how Boji can read lips, and so that's what he's reading lips from that. And then he can also procure like two little arms out of his little blob.
Yeah, I was gonna put him in the thumbnail for this week, but I wasn't sure how to. There's no ground in the background of our,
Oh, that's true.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure where I could put him. So
it's a tricky one.
So he does not appear. But your second favorite, I guess, character.
Yes.
What's her name?
Hijira or Hijiri, I forget exactly, but. Yeah, I didn't touch upon that. I was gushing about that second episode so much, but in the third and fourth ones, we get a lot of things happen. I don't want to spoil it because it's already like highly entertaining. Like a lot has happened, and I don't have time to break it all down. But I just wanted to convey like how much it has touched me emotionally and how invested I am into it, and I'm very excited about it. But yeah, she is the younger brother's mom. She's the second wife of the king and not Boji's mom. And so it's interesting. At first, you think in the first episode, you see her and she's like kind of a bitch, like towards Boji. And so you kind of write her off as one note. But then you get her backstory and you just, it like totally works, but like makes you empathetic towards her and you understand where she's coming from. But she still cares about him and they have a connection. And there's this whole thing where before she gave birth to her actual son, like she really wanted to form a bond with Boji and like made that happen. And I don't know, it's just very sweet. And I love its commitment, even though it looks very comical, like storybook. I know you thought it was like maybe just for kids or like a kid show. Like there's bloodshed in it. People have died. It's not maybe for kids necessarily.
Yeah, it was a little too kidsy comic looking to me. But
and I could see that from the trailer. Like it had like color palette wise and like just the way the characters are designed. Like it looks very storybook kind of whimsical, and it is. But then it also has they're not afraid to like show blood or to
depth to it as well.
Yeah, good characters. And it's slated for 25 episodes already, and I'm like so excited. I'm 4 in, and I'm like, where the heck is this thing gonna go? Because it's already taking me for a ride.
Well, I might have to check that out then, I guess. Sounds good. Sounds like there's good story there, despite my issues with the art design, animation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, we watched like 30 trailers, and it's like, you gotta.
Yeah.
We're trying not to watch everything, and so yeah, I totally get it of being like, it looks like a kid show, but it's definitely unsuspecting. Sorry. I stand by it. Recommend it. Anyone listening, it's good shit. I feel like it's one of those shows that might get passed over because of those reasons, or
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not doesn't look like the flashy kind
Yeah,
of.
just it looks like I don't know. What does it remind me of that art style? Reminds me of some other kids show. I don't even know exactly what it is, but eh, anyway,
Ranking of Kings.
worth checking out, says George.
I think so. I think it's gonna be a contender for the season.
All right. Well, that covers the two shows that we're going to cover this week.
Yeah.
And then we've got a movie that we watched that we're going to talk about, and more shows from this season, the fall season of 2021, will be coming next week. Possibly another movie. We're not sure what we're doing next week, to be
If
honest
there's a
with
show
you.
we're not covering, get in the comments. All right.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to hear, let me know.
Uh,
I may not watch it, but I want to know what
I
it
mean,
is.
You've heard my passive aggressive rants for the last 2 weeks. You don't need to hear them again. Yes. Comments, please.
Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there. It doesn't have to have a threat attached to it.
Yeah, well, that's just how I work, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, we got the movie.
And that movie is called Gyoko no Nikuko-chan, or in English, George.
Fortune Favors Lady Nikuko.
Yes, I believe it was previously known as Nikuko to Kikuko or something like that. Maybe Kikuko to Nikuko. That's the title I remember seeing, which is Nikuko and Kikuko, the names of the two main characters in the show. Yeah, so we obtained access to this movie thanks to the Animation is Film Festival, which we unfortunately could not attend, but
thank you very much.
they were very kind in sending us these links where we could watch them online, password protected. So you guys probably don't have that same luck, I guess.
I guess.
I mean,
last I checked, you weren't as privileged as
unless you're part of the media like we are, or pretend to be, which is probably pretty easy to do, to be honest. But
we need to, try to go to more festivals.
Yeah, let's go to one in Japan next year.
What can we start like local?
Let's go to one in Japan this year.
Continental?
Sabaton already passed, so
did it? The September, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there's more. I mean,
there's always a festival somewhere.
Well, yeah, Anime Expo, there's a big one.
Yeah.
There's also the Crunchyroll
What is that? That's
Expo.
like April though, right?
I think it's in summer. I think it's like June or something.
Okay, I thought it was early.
I mean,
like spring,
COVID threw things off, so I don't know.
Yeah. Everything's fucked with COVID right now. But anyway,
we got animation.
Animation is film. We got a screener.
This is our first.
It said
screener.
animation is film on the screen the entire time that we watched
2021.
Yeah, but it was negligible, easy to ignore.
I actually didn't like it for just one reason. Not that it was distracting or anything like on itself, but it just kept reminding me how we weren't able to go, even though we could have gone. Like we would have, we've been able to go.
If we could have gone, we would have gone, but we couldn't have gone.
I know, and it's my fault we couldn't go. So
I mean, there's reasons.
There's reasons, and they fall on me. But
well,
despite that constant reminder throughout this entire movie of that festival we missed,
I don't
Mamoru Hosoda was present at.
He was, in fact, and we could have interviewed him.
And it was in Hollywood. I told all my coworkers that. I made sure to mention Hollywood.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, I don't care. I need to sit at my house and jerk off to gay porn. Or
they probably think that's what I do since I have an anime podcast.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But nice save from where you were taking us.
I'm busy that weekend. I have to shave my pubes. Is that what they said?
Almost every single one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I was like,
you think they could?
We could just do it right now.
Like, yeah. Why don't we do that? Let's just shave your pubes right now and be done with it. And well, no, that's like 2 weeks away. I'll have to shave them again.
Right? It's like a line from Wet Hot American Summer. It's like,
yeah, probably.
It's like, all right, I'm gonna go shave my pubes and whatever. I forget hump the fridge or whatever it was. Anyway,
I remember
sorry.
the hump the fridge thing.
Yeah, I'm
I don't know if he
conflating two
said.
different
I don't know
ones.
if he said shave my pubes, but he might have. I don't
But he would
remember.
always say like in
Yeah,
passing, like I'm gonna go fondle my sweaters.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
one.
That was
That
one.
was
I
one.
think. Yeah.
They'd be like, "What? Oh, I'm going to have some fondue with cheddar."
Yes, that sounds delicious. Actually,
But
could only be
anyway,
improved by fondling sweaters.
right? In some circles, you may actually feel more guilty about fondue with cheddar than you would fondling sweaters. You know,
I mean, that's probably true. Yeah. I mean, vegan communities would certainly frown upon.
that's true. Yeah.
Well, depending on what the sweater's made out of. If it's like a wool sweater, I
Mm.
don't know. Probably equally as evil. You
Well, I
know?
also feel like fondue is a sort of associated with a privileged status.
Oh, I see.
You
Yeah.
know, anyone can fondle their sweaters.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, anyway, much like you might fondle a sweater,
You're gonna leave that in?
we're going to unravel this tale of coming of age and
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Like since I heard about it, it seemed like a sort of mother-daughter based story, which it was. Um, and yeah, it definitely had like very slice of life sort of vibes to it. Um,
Yeah.
which it certainly had in watching it as well.
Gorgeous background art, too,
Mm.
which is often with the yashike and stuff like that, is often like a hallmark. And
And it's sort of an interesting mixture, like the foreground art, like the characters, like some of them are sort of natural anime looking
yeah,
style,
yeah,
and some of them are very comic. Well, Nikuko in
yeah,
particular
yeah.
is very comic style looking
Yes.
character.
Which I feel like that not only describes her, appearance, but also her personality.
Yeah,
Like
that's
she,
true.
it's kind of, and our main lead, which is her daughter,
Mhm.
is very
Kikuko.
simple and plain, and that's kind of indicative of who she is. She's an awkward teenager who doesn't know what she
Just trying to
wants
fit
in
in.
life. Yeah,
Just trying to fit in this world,
and being embarrassed by her crazy mom, which I
Right.
related to a lot of things in this movie with that.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to approach this or discuss this movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I was just thinking of like talking about things we liked or like feelings or I don't know, instead of like
Yeah. It sort of comes and goes throughout the movie. Like you start off like with these sort of warm vibes towards them, their relationship together,
yeah,
and then we get into Kikuko's story with her classmates, and like there's sort of a thing involving that as well,
yeah,
which sort of brings us out of like that central relationship, but she still falls back on Nikuko to, I don't know. Like
yeah.
it's always it's like this rubber band effect between the two of them the entire movie. Like they're just sort of rubber banding until they eventually just sort of come back together solidly at the end, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it had this cool intro too, which kind of reminded me of like something that might be like nominated for a Best Picture Oscar, but like it had that whole intro of Kikiko, our main awkward teenage girl, narrating, and she's introducing us to her mother, and so it kind of frames it as about her mother, right? Because we get kind of her like broad strokes backstory.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tongue twister. And
Broad strokes backstory. Broad strokes Yeah, that is.
I'm so glad you tried it. Yun yun, that's what I'm saying. Amen. Up in
Amen.
this piece. But yes, we get introduced to Nikiko, who is this loudmouth, brazen, large woman who is just in love with life, very simply. Like there's not much depth to her. A lot of her story is all these like failed relationships she's had, where the whatever guy she was dating like had some sort of
That's a lot of the backstory.
some sort of surface charm, but then just ended up being like a dickbag and like would extort her, financially
Basically, they all
or
just robbed her
emotionally.
for money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, deceiving and some of them having separate families the whole time. And she's just, happy go lucky. She does not phase her, and she's sort of a beacon in this movie, and she's contrasted by her daughter, who we're introduced to, who's our main character, who is, very awkward and plain and doesn't look like her at all, and is dealing with her own, very very much like there was moments of this with her where like she's being confronted in the girls' bathroom by all these girls, and there's like
Yeah.
this whole like political playground thing going on, and I'm just like it felt really real, but I was just like, oh my god, I feel like I shouldn't even be hearing this, like this isn't for me.
It is. I mean, it is sort of a trope. Girl bullies. I mean, it's a trope in Japanese
Yeah.
anime, especially anyway.
And here
But
too. I mean, you got Mean Girls, and you got
I guess that's true.
Jawbreaker, and Heathers, and
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not more of a trope there. I don't know. It just reminds me of that Baby Metal song. Izume Dame Zetai?
Yes, it's on the first album.
It is. And it's about bullying. No more bullying forever.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot what that was about.
Anyway, I guess, yeah, it's a serious problem in Japan, especially for girls,
Yeah.
it seems.
Well, I think
And,
in general, like girls are
more
go to meaner
susceptible.
lengths.
Oh, maybe.
I think where it's not just like I'm going to beat you up. It's like I'm going to ruin your life, like your social life. It seems to be. I mean, and that's what this like that girl.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess we can get into a little bit of that. Like our main girl in the beginning has like a friend who she's close with, and they walk home together, and they talk and they're tight. And she dresses very feminine and makeup and all that, and is getting the attention of boys. And our main girl, what's her name again? I already forgot.
Kikuko.
Okay, because I think she calls her Kikurin.
Kikurin?
Kikurin, which is
it's like a
affectionate.
It's like Jonathan versus Johnny sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Or,
So it's like a nickname
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Rin on the end is like a nickname sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kikuko, that's it.
Kikuko.
She's I honestly like the narration, like I said, which it has this very, I was kind of touching on that, but the intro is like very like fast cuts, and like it's very,
Oh yeah,
it engages you right away.
The intro
where
is
it's-
really quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like attention grabber, and it works where it's like, this is, thrusting you into this world. But yeah, I heard the narration, I was like, that sounds like a girl character. But when I saw her, I thought like, oh, it looks like a boy.
She does have very short hair.
Yeah, very short hair, and like doesn't like do the makeup and stuff, and
Flat chested.
and like doesn't wear girly clothes, wears very
Right.
plain clothes.
Yeah.
But I realized right after that, I was like, oh no, that is a girl. And she is very pretty too. I just, in the first scene, I think you actually see her after the intro. It's like not a head-on shot, it's like from the side profile. But
I think I had spoilers because I knew it was like a mother-daughter story.
Oh yeah,
And
you
that-
know what you're
and
getting
that
into.
Nikuko and Kikuko, whose names I knew from the original title, were
Yeah.
mother and daughter. So yeah. I didn't have that distraction, but
Okay, yeah. And it was very brief for me. I was just like, oh, okay. Like it didn't, they made it apparent pretty early on if you were unsure about it. But yeah, it was good. And so that she has this friend who's more girly. So there's a lot of contrast there, like her and her mother, and then her and her friend. But the things kind of escalate at school because there's this girl who I don't remember her name, but she's really popular, and like this,
I don't
her
remember
friend
her
is
name
trying
either.
to take her down essentially,
Well,
or
so
like or cause some rift, in the dynamics.
Yeah, so we've got Kikuko, we've got Maria,
Maria is the
who
friend,
is her friend,
the girly kind of,
the girly feminine one, right? And I forget the other girl's name, but yes.
because we never
spot
see
on.
her, or if we do, it's not really like they don't draw attention to it, because they talked about her multiple times,
Yeah.
and I remembered the name. I was like, oh yeah, and she is popular, and they were playing a game. I don't know if it's basketball or what, but they were picking teams, and people were getting left out who were not as popular. There was this whole, and so Maria was trying to take all that down, but she was doing it selfishly because she wanted to be the popular one.
Right.
And so there's this that's who confronts her in the bathroom and all that. And then there's this whole dissolution. So it definitely ties into all that, childhood growing up stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and how Kikiko navigates through that. And it is sweet. And there's a boy that she likes, and
Hmm.
it reminded me, words bubble
He's
up like soda pop
he's
came
an
to
odd
mind a little
fella.
bit.
The boy that she likes is an odd
Oh
fella.
yeah, he's strange. Yeah, a little autistic maybe. I don't know.
She's a little odd too, which is how it all works out in the end, I guess. But
Yeah, they form a connection there. It's very
yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
And he likes to make silly faces, which the animation of that was great. It was just great because
Usually, like super deformed. Well, not that it was super deformed, but like that extreme of animation
mm,
bothers me because it's unrealistic. But
yeah,
this had a mix of like, I mean, we've got Nikuko the whole time who is completely unrealistically drawn. Like she's a cartoon
yeah,
character,
yeah,
right? But then the rest of the characters are pretty realistically drawn, at least for anime, right?
mm,
Um, so yeah, it didn't bother me that like when a realistically drawn character, made these faces, which were like literally impossible for someone to actually make that face, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it didn't bother me as much as it usually does. Yeah. I don't know what you were gonna say, but I
No, but
derailed it.
you saying that, I mean, I agree with that too, because it just felt so like natural thematically in what it was doing. But then you brought up Nikiko, which is interesting, her mom,
Yeah.
because she lives out loud, and she's so rambunctious and just yada yada.
Mm,
And you see that, like, literally her character, like you were just saying, is like bursting at the seams almost. Like there's so much energy. She's just like exploding. But
mm.
for, I forget his name, but the boy, the love
I don't remember
interest
either.
sort of,
Yeah.
or if you want to call him that, he is more subdued most of the time, but he
Yeah.
has to let that kind of thing out. He has to burst at the seams a little bit.
Yeah, he hides it most of the time. He lets it out and she sees it and he knows that she sees it. We find out later anyway.
Yeah,
And yeah, and he doesn't mind that she sees
yeah.
him
He
doing those
feels
faces and he just continues to do it, especially when she's looking, I think.
Yeah, it's like he feels comfortable around her. I don't know why, but it makes for a sweet moment.
He just recognizes her as a kindred soul, I think.
Yeah, he does
Yeah.
say that. Like she's like, "You're weird," and he's like, "Well, you are too."
Yep.
And it's like that's sweet. And I guess it's kind of that their relationship that reminded me of Words Bubble Up like Soda Pop a little bit, where it's this coming of age thing, and it's these two characters, and there's definitely a love connection there, but
Mm.
they're still kids, and so it's not consummated or anything, but
Right.
and it's not expected to be.
It's still a romantic connection
Yeah,
of
and it's
sorts
very
anyway,
sweet
right?
and
Yeah.
and just heartwarming. Like it's just
Yeah.
nice. Done well too, I think, is in both cases. But yeah, and then there's another thing I wanted to mention with
Mhm.
the talking animals.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because inexplicably through like you're a third the way through the film, and like this lizard.
I don't think it was that far, but
I thought yeah, earlier.
I think it was earlier, yeah.
Earlier, it could be, yeah. But I think it's the two of them, the mom and the daughter, Kikodu and Nikodu. Am I saying it wrong now?
You're saying it right.
I knew this was gonna happen.
Nikuko,
Oh, Nikuko and Kikuko.
Kikuko. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, they're at a bus stop waiting for the bus, and this little gecko walks by on a sign, and you hear it say, it says something specific. I'm trying to. It's late. It's
Yeah,
late.
yeah. It's always like commenting on the
Yeah,
situation.
what's happening? And I was just like, what? And then the mom.
Don't worry, things will get better.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, right?
And then as an audience member, I was like, oh, what? Was that just like a little joke? And then the mom, Nikuko,
Yeah.
says, "Did you say
Did you say
something?"
something?
And she's
No, it
like,
wasn't
"No,
me.
no."
And then the gecko speaks again, and yeah, it's in a very deep, manly voice, so we know that it's neither of them.
Yeah,
But
But then it turns out later, I mean, it happens because I was like, is that ever going to be revisited? And thankfully it was several times. And then it's explained later, but that was Kikuko kind of just, that's her being silly. Like, that's the thing she does is she, you know, narrates what what these little critters are saying. If a bird flies by, it was something like Exu or something. I forget what it was.
The boy is the one who points this out for us, the audience, anyway.
Yeah, what you were saying, because they
I assume
they were kindred spirits, right?
Right. I assume Nikuko knows about this because she's been around Kikuko her whole life. So
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It
So
seemed like a whole.
when she was saying, "Did you say something?" She knew.
Yeah,
But
it was like a whole bit.
it was a
between
bit.
them.
Yeah.
Which is nice when you can have.
There's so many bits between.
Oh yeah.
So many characters, that like,
We even
and
brought up the
especially
puns.
between Kikuko and Nikuko. Oh yeah. That was like a big thing at the beginning. I was like, oh, okay, so this is all just puns on like Japanese language. Like the first 5 minutes
But
of
they were
the film is all just Japanese language puns.
But they were done really well because sometimes those puns are like in context and like you have to know Japanese,
right.
But these ones were fun because it was like breaking down like, oh, this plus this means this. Like,
Right.
I'm trying to remember like
They explain it to a certain extent, and it doesn't make sense in English, but like, yeah.
I think some of them
this.
there's something there. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
There was one with the sun. It was like star plus like
Want?
no, it was like
no, because Star Hoshi
it was
is
something like a birth. That's what it was.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
star and birth and or no, maybe it was sun and birth meant star. Something. I think that's what it was. But yeah, it's like
maybe.
that one. I was like, oh yeah, I could see. Yeah, I could see that. The birth of a sun would be like a star. Got it. I don't remember what the Japanese words were, but it had that element where like you could think about it instead of being like, well, I don't get it. Like if it's in context, pun.
I'm trying to think of what the. So I mean, I think that one in particular is more of a kanji joke, but
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
remember.
I imagine so. Right?
I don't remember what the kanji for star is, but maybe it's the combination of the birth and sun kanji in some way. I don't know.
That's what I remember. Not that I know anything about.
No, you're absolutely right because I remember that as well.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm onto something. Tony's got the phone out, so
yeah, I'm looking it up on
he
Akebi.
might be here a while, folks.
Star planet. Is it? Okay, let me look at this kanji.
Well, while we're waiting, I can talk
Oh, it
about...
is. Holy cow. Well, I'm showing it to you as if you know what that means.
Oh, yes, I was right. George is right, y'all.
But yeah, it is like literally the kanji for star is the kanji for sun above the kanji for birth or life or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And to me, that makes sense. Checks out.
It does, I suppose, yeah. But I was
in a poetic way.
I was excited to find out that was in fact the case.
And what is that?
Even though I
what
totally
is that
knew
word for star?
Star Hoshi.
Oh, Hoshi.
It's
Oh, okay.
pronounced completely differently from the combination of the other words, but
But the kanji for star is Hoshi.
Kanji's weird. I mean, that's one reading. Do you want to know all the readings?
No, I just wanted you to say yes and move on. Hey, wait, yes, with a star next to it.
Let's just go with Hoshi. Yeah. Hoshi is star.
Okay.
Yep. Not Hoshi, but Hoshi.
Hoshi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I said want at some point, and that's Hoshi, which is, I was just wrong. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, you were wrong. And
I was.
And who was right?
The movie?
But I remembered what the movie said.
True.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we don't have a lot of time left, but what did you got anything you wanted to add about this?
Not really. It was just like it took its time, but it was like a sort of heartwarming family stuff with the coming of age stuff sort of as the main. So the coming of age story was like the main understory. I don't know what you'd call it. It was the carrier for this overstory, and this overstory was like the family thing,
which is
and it was
stuff
all
that
very sweet,
stuff that we're not spoiling,
Mm.
because I think, I mean, for me anyway, I think that it's like if you're gonna watch it, it's worth not knowing what's coming. I think because it's very
Yeah,
sweet. It's not overly dramatic, but I did tear up near around the emotional climax of this
yeah. It's certainly
movie.
not overly dramatic. It's not really a tearjerker, but like it has that heartfelt nature to it that
Yeah,
it gives you a little feels.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very good, really well animated. Like
Oh yeah.
my biggest worry going into it was the comical art style of Nikuko, right?
Mm.
Like, I don't really like that sort of art style most of the time. Like it's very much like what's her name, Hazai-san. It's a popular Japanese thing. I don't remember her name. Um, is that her name? That's gonna bother me now. Um, I think I got it right though. But that comical art style, um, I think if it was all in that style, would have ruined the movie. And I think if it was all in just regular anime art style, might have also not packed the same or held the same impact that it does the way that it's done
Oh yeah.
with Nikuko being sort of a comically drawn character. And
Mm.
I
And
don't know.
totally on purpose.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I
Even
mean,
down to
it's
that emotional reveal that we were hinting at, like it fits within that, like, that choice.
yeah, yeah. It's good. I wanted to watch it from the time that I heard about this movie the
Mm.
first time.
You watch a trailer or something?
I think I just read about it. I think
Oh,
I just
okay.
read I saw a poster and maybe read a basic synopsis or something like that.
Mm.
It was like a mother-daughter story, which is maybe not evident in the first part of the movie, but it becomes more evident
No, no, I
later
think
in the
it is.
movie.
Yeah. I think through
Um,
and through.
yeah, it's very sweet. It's a very sweet family story, and if you like emotional dramas with a good kick of comedy,
Yeah.
which who doesn't, right?
And I was gonna say that too, like, no joke on the comedy. Like, it is funny. Like, there are
Mm.
several like laugh out loud moments like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this.
It's not just like a lighthearted drama. It's
Yeah.
like it is mostly comedy. Like
Yeah.
the substrate is all
Yeah.
comedy
But it's
with
worked in there so
like
well.
the emotional drama just sort of
Mm.
dolloped on top.
I think I'd describe it differently, but
How would
that's
you
fair.
describe it?
I think the emotional drama is actually the
You
base,
think that's the
and I think the
substrate? Okay.
comedy is the topping.
Dolloped on top.
Yeah.
Ah, see, I see it the opposite of that.
Okay.
Interesting.
But yeah, so two different takes.
Yeah.
Take that as you will, I
So
suppose.
pretty, I guess pretty equal parts of both is probably the
Yeah,
answer then.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
to me, I think the foundation is the emotional stuff, but the comedy is so good that it's rich and it's like it's worked in really well to me. If
Yeah,
we're
but
going with
the
this
but
food analogy.
but the drama's not heavy or anything like that, right?
No, it's
It's
true.
it's
That's
it's
true.
pretty light, and that's why I'm saying that it's like sort of the icing on top. You've got this sort of basic comedic premise substrate. Although, I mean, you're right. Like the heart of the story, the central plot
Mm,
is the drama,
yeah.
and that's what holds it all together,
See, I would
right?
argue even that, I mean, Nikiko is clearly like, a comedic character, but
Yeah.
like she's not the main character, even though we may be led to believe that from the intro,
Mm,
when it sets everything up. But, because Kikiko is,
right.
and she's not that way. Like she's, unsure of herself and, nervous and, not really living out loud.
Hmm.
I don't know. So I love that contrast, I guess, but because a lot of the comedy doesn't come from her. Although there are some moments like she's not just like there is something to her. Like she's not just like, plain white piece of paper. But
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It's an interesting argument, but it's definitely funny and it's definitely heartwarming and
Well written, well
yeah,
drawn.
good payoffs and
Yeah.
likable characters. Yeah, there's something else I was gonna say, but I forget.
Penis.
I had a dream about you while you were gone.
I said penis, and you said you had a dream about me. That's weird, man.
Oh, well, I already wanted to make that segue, so maybe you were, putting that penis energy out there.
No, because it sounds like you're basically saying that you had a dream about my penis.
Basically, you said penis, and then you want to make me feel like I'm gay.
No, I said penis, and then you said, "Oh yeah, I had a dream about you while you were gone."
But I checked the tape. That thought was already pouring out of my mouth.
True, but
no,
I mean, I also dream about my penis. So go ahead, it's fine. Who doesn't?
The dream wasn't about a penis, but it was about one piece.
Oh.
No, it's so stupid, but it was kind of a vivid dream, which like fucked me up. But I had a dream that, because you've watched the first 13 episodes or whatever of One Piece, and you're like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it'd be, which is high praise from Tony.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Maybe I threw that on there as like, self-defense mechanism. But no, I had a dream that like you came back and you were like, oh my God, I don't remember exactly, but like you had some experience or something happened that like made you, get on the One Piece train, and like you came back just being like very excited about One Piece, and it was such a blissful dream for me, and I woke up just feeling light, and then I was like, oh, that didn't really happen. Wow.
So in your dream, I was out of town. In reality, I was out of town.
Yeah.
But then in your dream, I came back and was like, I had some metaphysical experience that led me to watch more One Piece.
Yeah, I think it was more like you met someone who like just really like convinced you of like, oh shit, I need to be watching this.
Was his name Luffy?
Yeah, Luffy himself.
I just happened to meet
visited
Luffy.
You. Luffy was in Vegas at a pirate convention.
Yeah, where else would he be?
It's
it all makes sense.
It's crazy they can't catch these pirates when they're blatantly going to conventions.
I know, right? Having conventions in Vegas.
He's got a booth, people. Anyway, that's really all there was to the dream, but I felt it deeply. I don't mean to make light of it, and it meant a lot to me that you spoke so highly of One Piece in my dream.
Okay. But not in real life.
Well, no, like you said, it's
not bad.
It's not bad, yeah. Which is, knowing you is high praise.
Oh yeah, no, most things are bad.
Yeah. So anyone listening might be like, he said it's not bad. I don't know. No, that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, no, greater than 50% of things are bad.
Yeah, this is
for sure.
Yeah, even if just by a hair, it's it means a lot. But in my dream, you were very ecstatic. You were over the moon, actually, and it got me excited. And I don't often see you that way, so it was a bit strange.
Maybe I need to watch more of it. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
I was ecstatic about One Piece.
I mean, as ecstatic as you.
I don't see that happening, but
you were just into it. You were into it, and you were like, One Piece.
Hey George, I watched more One Piece.
And it's like you were saying, you were right.
No. I'm saying while I was in Vegas, I watched more One Piece, and it's pretty good.
Your voice went up.
I'm lying. I didn't.
Lying that it was pretty good.
No. I was trying to think of the next step up from not bad, and that's pretty good.
Okay,
I guess.
Yeah.
Which sort of mean the same thing, but like there's a level of differentiation there for me. I think between not bad and pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah. And sometimes time and reflection.
Yeah, no, I mean it's still on my list of things to watch. To be honest with you, it's just like I don't know when I'm going to get back to it.
It's a tall ass order, so it's
a
not,
lot. It's a lot.
I don't think my dream was intended to guilt you or anything, but it just made me happy. That's why I wanted to share it. Whether or not you actually get on that train, because I refused to for years, and now look at me, Mom.
But you're getting on that Dirty Pair train, right?
Yeah, I would like to watch some Dirty Pair. I've yet to do that.
It's there. You just got to watch it.
Should have got in on that Kickstarter.
Should have got in on that watching Dirty Pair 2 years before you were born?
Oh, yes, because you watched it when it came out.
Well, no, but But probably about the time that you were born, I was watching it.
Maybe.
Yeah. 2 years later. It was probably actually later.
Yeah, because I feel like it wasn't until the 90s where like
It was like
anime
80,
was
88, 89, I
okay.
think, that I was
Did
possibly watching it, I
did
think.
you have like I don't know, like tape trading
No, so
was a big thing.
there was a video store in my town, like a Blockbuster type thing or whatever, but not Blockbuster, some independently owned thing. And someone that either owned it or worked there was a fan of anime, and there was always fresh anime coming in, basically. So I would go to this video store, and there was this fresh anime that probably wasn't available in like 90% of the United States in their video
Okay,
stores, but
nice.
like in
So
this
this guy went out of
small
his way
town that I
to
lived in, I mean, it was a small town. So,
nice.
yeah, it was, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Someone there was into it and brought in the latest things. I mean, it was a college town. Basically, the college was 50% of the population of the town, right? So it was a big market, I suppose. Um, I don't know.
it's funny because I also grew up in a small town, and I also was able to procure anime from locally owned video store,
Hmm.
but it was nearly a decade later.
Oh, I see.
So I imagine it was already a little more established at that point. At
Mm.
least some of the mainstays. But that's really cool because I think late '80s, I think is like that's like OG early adopter anime time in America.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's
No,
like Akira came out like around then, and Ghost in the Shell and stuff like that, which were big here. But I don't think it was like till the '90s, early
looking
'90s.
back on it, I see how bizarre it was. But at the time, I didn't recognize that there was anything special
Yeah, it's just
about
like, oh, it's
the
something at the
fact that I
video
had
store.
access to all of these things, right?
It's just
I thought it was like
cool,
every video store had this, but yeah,
nice.
looking back on it, I realized like it was a pretty special thing.
Well, maybe we'll have to just do like a Dirty Pair episode.
I don't know if we can get a full episode out of that. As much as I love it,
Oh, we
yeah,
can still mention it.
how
Like we
much
mentioned this
how much
movie.
story is there, right?
We talked about two shows in a movie.
Yeah.
It could be two shows in Dirty Pair.
Seems a little light still.
All right, we'll see. I was just trying to like,
No, I love Dirty Pair. It's just like the story is like it's an episodic thing, right? Like
yeah,
that's how things were sort
yeah.
of done back then, right? I keep saying right.
I'm sure. I'm sure there's stuff to talk about.
I mean, okay, so we could watch all of the anime plus the movies plus maybe Dirty Pair Flash.
I think we got to keep it simple, unless this
Yeah,
is
I
like
don't
a
know.
long project.
I don't know. Watch what you want. We'll talk about it when we, whatever. Whenever you feel like
Watch
talking
something.
about it.
I think if
I've watched all of it at least
I
twice
think
at
you
this
showed me
point.
maybe
So
like a Dirty Pair episode, but like OG.
maybe,
But Dirty Pair
maybe.
Flash, I think I do remember
Oh yeah,
from back in the day.
yeah, yeah. Dirty
Yeah,
Pair
or
Flash.
for back in
I
my day.
I think yeah. I mean that was the mid early to mid '90s, I
Yeah.
guess. And yeah, it caught on a little bit more in America than the original Dirty Pair did.
Mm.
I think.
Is that the? It might not be. Is that the one with the boob counter, the boob bouncing?
No,
Okay, because there was a show around that time.
no. I
That,
remember you saying this before, and I said no.
oh, okay,
And then you
because
figured out what show it was, and I don't
yeah,
remember what show it was, but it's not
it's
Dirty
not
Pair.
that, but it definitely
No.
came out around the same time as Dirty Pair Flash, and it's probably just because the Flash that I I think of.
Maybe I remember you figuring it out at some point in time, like what show it was. I don't remember what it was though.
Yeah.
But
Well, you
but
know what to do, listener.
definitely not Dirty Pair or Dirty Pair Flash
All
or
right.
any of the movies or the OVAs or anything having to do with Dirty Pair in any way. But
Well,
there are boobs.
well,
But
yeah,
there's not a counter.
yeah, yeah. As for the counter, was just whatever show I need to figure it out
Not
because
naked
that's
boobs. They're covered boobs.
well, yeah, and in this other show they're not naked
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a jiggle counter, I think is what it is.
I,
It's
I
really
remember
it's
this.
gross.
I
It's
honestly I
gross.
remember you bringing this up before, and we figured out what it was, And I think I actually watched a couple episodes of whatever show it was that you figured out it was, but I don't remember now.
I'm glad it wasn't Dirty Pair Flash.
It was at least like
it's not a good thing.
10 years ago that you brought this to my attention. No, we didn't know each other 10 years ago.
I mean, probably like 6 or 7.
Maybe. Possibly. It was like the first thing you ever said to me. Oh, is that the one with the jiggle counter? No.
Well, yeah, because you were like, "Oh, you like anime? Do you like Dirty Pair?" And I was like,
Was that the one with the jiggle counter? And
"Well,
I
Dirty
said
Pair
no.
Flash." I think that would have been like,
It's definitely not.
Anyway, speaking of Flash, this episode has been a flash in the pan, but unfortunately, like all good things, it must cease to exist. So, Tony, take us out.
It sounds like George is trying to push me to do the outro.
Yeah, we got a new thing. We hit the time on the timer. We're actually 10 minutes past the dang time.
Yeah. Don't
Hey, you're not the one that has to edit this or listen to it.
push me because I'm close to the edge. Okay. I don't know. I'm like anime. UMLIKEANIME. Facebook, Instagram, etc., etc., etc. We want to hear from you so that I won't be as angry as I was in the last 2 episodes. Done.
Love you guys. Stay safe. Watch anime.
Also Patreon.
Give us money. Or love.
Or both.